Hi, this is the Philosophical Angle program, and I'm your host, Chris Angle. I'm the author of 4 books on philosophy, one of which is The Nature of Aesthetics. And these books are available for viewing at the philosophicalangle.com. If you'd like to contact us and make comment, you can give us a shout at contact@thephilosophicalанgle.com. Along with me is my colleague and co-host, Rick Samuelson. Rick graduated from Yale and has an MBA from Wharton, and he's an independent venture capitalist out on the West Coast. And good to see you, Rick.
And you.
And the purpose of the Philosophical Angle is to examine nature of concepts being used in current media. And something that came up in the last few weeks is a situation in Atlanta which involved a fellow named Rayshard Brooks, and I thought we'd analyze that today. Let's take a look at see what we can see on the video here.
And this is the Bodycam video of when Officer Garrett Rolfe first approached Rayshard Brooks at the Wendy's on University Avenue last night around 10:30. Police were called there after reports of a man who was parked in the drive-thru had fallen asleep. See Officer Rolfe asking Brooks a few questions before he took a field sobriety test. The GBI says when Brooks failed the test, there was a struggle over the taser between Brooks and the officers. We're only going to show you a portion of the video. Again, a warning, this video is disturbing.
You're gonna get tased! Stop! Mr. Ross! Stop! Come on, man! Stop! You're gonna get tased! Mr. Ross! Hands off the taser! Hands off the taser! Hands off the taser! Stop fighting! Taser! Oh, 63.
And we want you to compare that to the surveillance video that was released from the Wendy's camera earlier this afternoon. And by this afternoon, it actually means Saturday afternoon. The days are running together right now. You can see Brooks in this video running across the parking lot with an officer following him. A lot of the other cars in the parking lot still when all of this unfolded. And his car, just from the view from the Atlanta police body camera footage, shows that his car is actually to the left of the footage that we're seeing here. So this video only captures the moment where we saw Mr. Brooks actually running with the officer after him. Again, a lot of cars still in the drive-thru at the time all of this unfolded and the shots went off.
Okay, so turn that off. So it starts off with the Rayshard Brooks being confronted with the officer, and he was sleeping in his car. And if you take a look at some of the more of the videos up there on the about this, you can see that he's able to speak and hold his own, and so it starts from that point whereby a guy is sleeping in his car. And then it ends with a chase across the parking lot. Rayshard Brooks appears to be holding a taser and shoots it at a police officer. And then the police, although you don't see this in the video, then shoot Rayshard Brooks, as I understand it, in the back 3 times, and he dies. And so it goes from man sleeping in his car to a man dying with 3 shots in the back by the police. I don't feel the penalty for sleeping in your car should ever be a shot in the back by the police. The penalty is not commensurate with the crime, and I think it's probably a fault of the police training that they've used way too much force and quite unreasonably. And So the guy resists arrest. He starts to resist arrest. The officers should have just stepped back. Where is he going to go? He's surrounded by police. He can run away. They can talk to him some more. And if he runs away, they get in their cars and they follow him. Or they do even something even better. One of the officers runs after him. He's only going to run a couple hundred yards before he gets exhausted. Maybe the police are just out of training and out of shape so much that they don't want to run after them. So it's unreasonable, the events that have happened, and I'm totally against it and think that the police are totally wrong here. Rick, what do you think?
Well, I guess it's a question of whether you think it's premeditated murder or self-defense, right? In terms of how the case is handled with respect to the police. Let's recall here that there's extreme probability of cause on 2 counts. He failed the sobriety test, and if you're a big proponent against driving while drinking, okay, that's a red flag. Okay, so he failed that. Then he resisted arrest. So any citizen knows that you don't get in a physical fight with the police. That's at such a common sense level that it barely bears mentioning. These events happen in split seconds. The third probable cause is he stole a weapon from a policeman. He stole the taser. Okay, so there are 3 probable crimes here, wrapped up into one. Will a taser kill somebody? I mean, if you use it long enough on somebody, it probably could. It's designed to stun. Should the police have shot him 3 times in the back? Probably not. Was there enough of a suspicion on their part, and again we're dealing with a split-second decision, to think that, well, maybe there are other crimes associated with this individual. Maybe he's more dangerous than he initially appeared when he was sleeping in his car. In terms of my personal safety, if the guy's got a taser aimed at me, am I irresponsible in at least trying to stop him with a bullet? That's a judgment call. I can understand your argument that they used excessive force in shooting him 3 times, but in no way do I think they are guilty of murder in any premeditated sense. This guy had, I don't know what his prior record had been, and they obviously didn't have a chance to look that up in any detail. But the policemen have a very, very dangerous job, particularly in situations like this, which spin out of control very, very quickly, as this did. So I can understand better training. I can understand a reprimand, right? So it sends a message to other policemen. But what I can't understand are the calls for accusing them of murder and actually trying them for murder, which is what is happening in Atlanta.
Yeah. I agree in the fact that it shouldn't be like murder 1. It's not premeditated murder, obviously, but it is an unreasonable act within the confines of those events that you mentioned that are all criminal, the taser, the resisting arrest, but none of them deserve death. And you take a look at the Supreme Court and look how long it takes for somebody to be executed, and a real somebody who's been really convicted of terrible things, it takes 17 years. And in this case, it goes from sleeping in your car, trying to sleep it off, which is I think what a good citizen would try to do. He's not dangerous. He's trying to avoid a DUI. Okay, sleeping it off and ends up dead. It's just an unreasonable acceleration of events. And where the cops, oh yeah, he failed the field sobriety test, and so they can take him in, but to get into a fight and then at least not run after him. They don't have to shoot him down. They've got 2 cop cars there. They've got several officers who could run after him. The guy's out of shape. He's not going to go far. And they got his license, so they know where he lives. They got his keys to his car. They know he can't go far. So everything is one-sided here, and I just feel that looking at the facts here, that it's a brutal thing that happened unreasonably.
Well, okay, well, wait a second
Go.
here. I ascribe what happened fundamentally to the severity of the DUI laws. You realize, of course, that standard procedure, those policemen are obligated to determine whether that man was drunk in his car.
Okay.
This is not something that happened
That's fine.
by accident. It is not something that they probably particularly wanted to do. They are directed to do that. They are obligated by their job responsibility, because of the severity of DUI laws, to actually go into somebody's car and check whether they're drunk or not.
Yeah, okay.
They're obligated to do that field sobriety test.
Fine.
So if you want to go to the fundamental source of why this even happened at all, rather than just leaving the poor guy alone to sleep it off, then go to your DUI laws and the severity with which they're applied across all the states now.
Totally agreed. Probably the DUI laws are a little bit gone overboard, but in this case, it is what it is, and the laws are in place, and we have to deal with them. Nevertheless,
Well, but the police, if they had not done that, okay, and a citizen had complained, their jobs would be on the line.
Okay.
That's the point.
I'm not disagreeing that they shouldn't have arrested him. I'm disagreeing that in their attempt to arrest him, they don't need to shoot him. And for that...
Well, he didn't need to taser them.
That's true. But taser isn't a death sentence. And
It can kill somebody. No, a taser can kill somebody. You use it long enough, it can kill somebody.
yeah, well, it had already been shot, and so there's only a certain amount of electricity. And in any case, it's something that doesn't. I just don't see it requiring. They could have just separated enough so that they are outside of the range of the taser, which is not far. Was it? I don't know, 10 yards, 12 yards, something like that, and just followed him. I mean, they got 2 cars, they got several police officers, and they got one guy who probably can't run 200 yards.
Let's pose an alternative scenario.
Go.
Let's suppose this guy had started tasering the other people in the parking lot.
Well, obviously he's not,
No, you do. How do you know?
because he's
that
running.
He wasn't about to do that?
He's running away.
He could have dodged off to the left and gone after somebody in another car or somebody walking. You don't know that.
It's that would be an unreasonable.
The most important issue is to protect the public. Okay, there were other people in that parking lot, lots of them.
Yeah,
That guy had already shown hostility.
yeah, but he
And
did.
actually, it was hostility that was not started by the police. All they were doing was checking sobriety, and
I agree.
every attorney general would have instructed them that you must do this,
Yes,
or you're negligent in applying your job responsibilities.
yes, I agree.
Okay, so how can't you not accept the possibility that they were actually protecting other members of the public when this guy's shooting a taser all over the place?
He's not shooting a taser all over the place. There was a whole
You
line of
don't
cars
know.
at Wendy's,
This is
and he doesn't
happening
run
in
over them and
split
shoot them all.
Their job is to protect the public. There were numerous people in that parking lot, weren't there?
Yeah, that's right. And so you now know that he's not a dangerous criminal to the public at
No,
large.
you don't.
Yeah,
No,
you
you
do.
don't.
He's running
No,
for
you
life
don't.
for himself,
You
for
don't
himself.
know what he was going to do you? You assume you know what he was going to do. You don't.
Yeah, that's right. Inductive logic tells you that he's running for his he's running for his freedom.
How many people in a year, in 10 years, grab a taser and shoot it at a policeman?
Not too many, and that was. I don't say that it's wise.
Small
It's
number.
pretty dumb.
It's a very unusual situation. In my mind, the most important duty those policemen had was to protect other members of the public in the general vicinity. That guy had already shown hostility. He'd stolen the taser. Already, he was a thief. Okay? So, was it excessive force?
So let me ask you something, Rick.
Perhaps, but protecting the public, the other individuals in that parking lot, was more important than protecting a criminal.
So it's because he had the taser, they had the right to shoot him?
Yeah. That's potentially deadly force.
So if he had run away and without the taser and he got shot.
Different story entirely. Different story entirely.
Well, I suppose then this hinges on whether you consider the taser itself a deadly weapon, and I would say a bunch of guns on the other side of 9mm guns against this taser that's already been fired, and there's just no contest. So, and if he had gone to like kidnap a car or kidnap somebody, the police are right there with their 9mm. It's nothing's gonna happen. The guy's obviously just suddenly made an irresponsible choice in his life, but I don't think he should have been paid for it by his life. Last remark. Go ahead.
Well, fair enough, but I do think in this argument for calling for first-degree murder, which is what is going on, I've never seen any mention of the fact that the police were acting in the public interest, that there were numerous other people in the parking lot that were at risk of this guy with a taser, and it's not even discussed, which I find astonishing.
Yep. The whole situation is astonishing. That's for sure. On both sides. Rick, thanks for the argument, and we'll see everybody next week on the Philosophical Angle program.
Thank you.